Because no one has seen my face and has what? And has lived. Now, this was a reality in their day. Nobody was supposed to see the face of God. You would remember that Adam saw God face to face every day. And he lived. But Adam was clothed with glory just as God was clothed with glory. We discovered that after Adam sinned, the glory departed. And Adam realized he was naked. Before then, there was no such revelation of nakedness. He was clothed with the glory of God that he couldn't even see. When he looked at Eve, she was covered in the glory. Remember, the psalmist says God clothes himself in light. If you look into a bright light, you cannot see what is beyond it. If you look into the sun, you cannot see what is inside of it. They say it can hurt your eyes. So that is sort of like God's way of revealing to us in nature what the glory is like. You cannot stare into it. When Moses came down from the mountain after having met with God, the Bible says people could not see him. His face was shining with the glory of God. They couldn't, and Moses had to veil his face. Now, is it still like that today, that no one will see God? Otherwise you'll die, or you must be dead to see him. There's a question then. Moses came along, walked with God, and he came to a point where he desired deeper fellowship with God. Then God came to a point where he decided he wants to reveal himself to man. He doesn't want to be this mysterious figure. He wants man to know him personally. He wants man to understand him. And God decided he was going to reveal himself to man. And then he gave a word to the prophet Ezekiel. And I will not hide my face from them anymore. God says, I'm not going to hide anymore. For I shall have poured out my spirit on the house of Israel, says the Lord God. So God says, I've been hiding my glory, I've been hiding my face. Moses was in the cleft of the rock, but I'm going to come out now. I'm going to show my people how I look. I'm going to show them my face. And God comes out from there and he says, I'm coming out. And how did he come out? How did he show us his face? In the beginning was the Word. The Word was with God, and the Word was God. Right, verse 14. So the Word became flesh and dwelt among us, and we beheld his glory. So for the first time he says, now people could see how God looked like. And he says, I'm going to show them how I look. But do you know that people didn't believe it was God? They didn't accept Jesus. That's why they crucified Jesus. They said, he says he's the Son of God. And even some of the disciples didn't believe. But they asked the question to Jesus in John 14 verse 8. Philip said to him, Lord, show us the Father and it is sufficient. Meaning it will suffice us. It will satisfy us. Now, Jesus said to them in verse 7, I have made known the Father unto you. Meaning by seeing me, you have seen the Father. But look at the next verse. What was Jesus' answer? Jesus said to him, ready, steady, read. So Jesus said, you have seen God. You have seen the Father. That was the glory of the Father. So this is the two dimensions of the glory. It's the persona and it's the work. It's the person, right? The face that you see, the glow. That's what they see. When Philip said, show us the Father, that will be sufficient. We'll be happy to at least say, oh, we've seen the Father. Jesus said, no, I've been with you so long. How do you ask that question? Here's the Father in front of you. That's what he was saying. He said, if you have seen me, you have seen the Father. So that was the glory of God revealed unto men. So what are we also saying here? We are saying that nobody can say to you, no, nobody can see God, you will die. No, that was Old Testament. God has revealed himself to us. Now, this was then to that generation because some of us were not alive in that generation. In fact, All of us. We were not alive in that generation. So this generation that was alive in the day of Jesus, they saw God, right? And there they saw the glory of God. Now can you imagine them having seen Jesus, they still asked for the Father. And here's the question: what do men want to see until he believes? Think about it. You know, there are people today, they be like, there is no God. They have seen so much. I'm sure if somebody asks you, is there God, you will say yes. And then you'll mention to them what was your experience and your encounters that caused you to believe there is a God, isn't it? That is real to you. It means you have seen, what you are articulating is the works of God, has convinced you of the existence of God. Both the works and the presence, because there are some of us here, you have felt the presence of God in a tangible way to such an extent that you will not forget it. You have had an encounter with God. And for that reason, nobody should come and tell you God doesn't exist. For some of you again, God did something out of the ordinary that convinced you there is a God. And therefore you believed him because you have seen the works of God, the hand of God. Both of that is glory. That's the glory of God. That's how God reveals himself to us.